Hi and welcome to the 64 Doors. Today we're going to open door 6. Here we find the Peacemaker, and this is an archetype that knows how to create healthy boundaries and emotional balance. We're going to explore the Peacemaker from a human design perspective and a gene key perspective. Right now we have the Sun in Virgo in gate 6. We have the Earth in Pisces in gate 36, and the design part of the cross is the 12th in Gemini and the 11th in Sagittarius. So this is the incarnation cross of somebody who's born in these 6 days that the Sun is going to be in the 6th gene key. It can be 3 different crosses, and these are the cross of Eden, the cross of conflict, and the cross of the plane. You can see that since we are not working with a 90-degree angle in the cross, but an 88-degree angle in the cross, the design part is going to look different. The 12 and the 11 in the right angle cross, and then we have the 15 and the 10 in the other 2 crosses. I really like the cross of the plane, and this is somebody who is a role model, who's here to be an earthly guide and to guide out others through the life in this earthly plane, and being an example and aligning with their blueprint, with their design. And it's not so much what the mind needs, but it's really about the body and the soul and living with our naturalness and magnetism. If you have one of these 3 crosses, I would say go to the Gene Key website and create your hologenetic profile, and you're going to have a whole page on your activation sequence with 1 paragraph for each gate or gene key. Because to just read this little summary, you could say, about the destiny can sometimes feel like a little bit too simplified. And if you have that whole page, it's going to help you understand much more what this incarnation cross is about, what this destiny or this dharma that you have come here for is. And if we go back to the body graph, we see that in the standard view, we have the 6 in the emotional center pointing towards the 59 in the sacral center. And some of the keywords from the 64 doors for this archetype is the arbiter, skin, protection, and sensitivity. The internal motivator is an urge to attain a state of peace and balance. The Achilles heel is caution with intimacy, nervousness over being open to others. And like we saw in the beginning, the positive attributes are the sense of how to create resolve in conflict, and also the healthy boundaries. So when we go to the circuitry book and we look at the channel 59.6, we are going to see that this is the channel of mating. And in the quick reference theme, it sounds more like the 59 because it says you have a very powerful auric field to penetrate people's aura very deeply. This means that you can be intimate with almost anybody very quickly. Although this is natural for you, it's not for others. So you need to be aware of how easily you can be misunderstood. So I would say this is very much for somebody who has both the 59 and the 6. If you only have the 6, it's a little bit the opposite. It's actually you still have an aura. The way you feel is going to impact people around you, but instead of having that urge to just penetrate, you are going to be the force that is discriminating. You are going to want to wait before you want to mate. So it's kind of different. They are in a way opposites. We could say that the 59 is a little bit more this masculine penetrating force that kind of comes in action, and the 6 is much more the waiting and says, I know when to be open and to be closed, and I know how to create true intimacy when I open, and that needs to kind of take its time. It's also something, if we go right into the gene key, I usually don't do that. But if we look at the integral human design, we see that the low frequency of this channel here, it's called here we are calling it the channel of fruitfulness. And at the low frequency, it's defense. It's like, you know, the 59 wanting to penetrate, and the 6 actually closing. I'm not ready. And then it becomes this defense. It doesn't go anywhere. And then in a higher frequency, there is actually this coming together, and there is a fruitful relationship and intimacy coming through from that. And the highest expression is this fusion. There is just this receiving from the 6, and then the penetration from the 59. And that's, of course, what can really open up in the highest frequency. And when we look at the stream of relationship, that is from the sacral center, both in the 59 and the 6 to the emotional center, and then the 27 to the splenic center, we see that here the frequency band is isolation, relationship, and harmony. So very much a similar frequency band. And then we can look at it also in the emotional center, the frequency band, yearning, feeling, serenity, and compassion. So if we go back to, actually we can look at the gene keys and explain a little bit about this frequency band that we see in the gene keys. An activation, a gate or a gene key, can be lived out in very different ways. In human design, we speak about the not self, and it's often something that we connect to the open center. And it says when there's an open center, there is energy coming in, and the human being might not be able to discern what's mine, what's not mine, and then it's going to act from the conditioning from the not self. It's also true that there can be a not self when a center is defined, and it's still an acting out from a low frequency, from a kind of me frequency or fear frequency, instead of a more open and expansive frequency. So that's exactly in the gene keys what we are saying. Whether here we don't speak about centers, so we don't know if a gene key is coming out of a defined center and undefined center. We just say any activation can be lived out from a fear frequency, a very contracted frequency, or it can be lived out from an open heart and a much more expansive frequency. So looking at, again, that half part of the activation sequence or the incarnation cross, when we have the 36 and the 6, they're polar opposites. We have conflict in the low frequency in the 6, together with turbulence in the 36. And here the victim is the victim of emotions, and a repressive 6 can be over attentive, and a reactive shadow pattern is tactless. And the 6 learns through often feeling the conflict, feeling the dissonance, feeling that energy that doesn't feel nice on the skin or in the body. And that's how it learns the path to peace. I think here, if we look at Richard's quote, it says, every human being is emotionally vulnerable until we drop our protective defenses. The defenses form around our heart, and as long as our heart remains defended and closed, they can't heal. So that's kind of this 6 in a nutshell. Here we have also the name of the I Ching is conflict, is heaven over water. And it says, right timing of creative energy to communicate with love. So here we have this 6 that is feeling the dissonance, feeling the interference, and that is waiting for the right timing to communicate from the heart, from love, not from that place of, oh, this is uncomfortable and I kind of have to say something. It's really the peacemaker that knows how and when to speak, and that has a good intention with that speaking. So you see here, you have the water on the bottom, and you have the heaven on the top. So conflict is the entropy of half-heartedness. Diplomacy is fresh commitment. And here there's a spelling error. Peace is the beauty of devotion. So entropy, freshness, and beauty, that's the first gene key, heaven. Half-heartedness, commitment, and devotion, that's the 29th gene key, water over water. And then this is the last gate in the codon ring of alchemy. So we have been in the 64, in the 40, in the 47. So this is the last one. And this is really about the subtle bodies coming into this physical body and kind of being embodied inside of it. So we could say that we are raising the frequency of the density of the physical body. It's becoming less dense. It's becoming more, it's becoming this tool for integration. So it says, the sixth gift is breaking down the barriers in human relationship. The 40th gift is forging this new openness into our communities. The 47th gift is allowing us to transform our old ways. And the 64th gift is opening us up to a fresh set of possibilities and living in a new way. And this is what's going to gradually bring peace to earth. So this is a super powerful codon ring. And I also feel like it's taking us in to the next codon ring that starts with the 46. That is the love of being here in physical form. And it kind of happens through these four that, okay, once we have integrated more, once we can feel the subtle bodies as part of our reality, of our embodiment, then it is much more effortless to step into that 46, to that delight, to that gratefulness, to that exploration of the physical form or through the physical form. We are still in Virgo. So here we have the mutable earth and the service to spirit through devotion to sacred work. The mudra is super beautiful. It's just this kind of peacefulness, gratefulness, and maybe also a way of feeling into the truth of the moment, because that is what the six does. And this came through also in the channeling that we did with Simone about the adaptability, the flexibility of the six to kind of feel into and know, and and to be able to say, to calibrate and come with the solutions that are right in the moment. And you will have the dream arc if you go to Jane Addams' blog, and there you will have painted the dream arc codex. Dove, hedgehog, and squid are the animals for this gene key. This is a week to look at where you're still protecting. Where are you keeping up the barrier or the defense with the other, and why are you doing that? This can be especially accentuated when you have the sixth gate in an open emotional center, because you might be in the not self of avoiding conflict, of kind of walking on glass and making sure that people aren't reacting. But that would take a toll on your physical body, because you are here to tune in the moment and to feel and to be able to adapt and to come and to speak from your heart in a way that can create true balance, true solutions, and true understanding between people. And that's really the role of the six. It's also a week to look into the intimacy that you have in your life. And with the six, maybe you are withholding. You are the one deciding like when to open and close. So you might be withholding and not allowing that energy, whether it is the 59 or not, to come in, and to see that can also be a kind of power play. So are you using your closing to kind of be in power in a situation, and can you maybe let that go? And what would it look like? What would it look like to fuse with that 59? What does true coming together look like? Also knowing that you have this capacity for peace and for harmony, is that something that you feel like you have in your life? And if you don't, why? We also know that the 36 is the programming partner to the 6, and here we have turbulence, we have crisis. So how is that showing up in your life? How has that shown up in your life? And really a lot of just observation, I would say, this week, and knowing that you have this sensitivity that you can feel in the energy, you can feel on your skin. So use that sensitivity to discern, and discern what's good for you, what's not good for you, and where can you open a little bit more, where can you take the risk, even if it might feel a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning. I'm wishing you all a good week. Thank you.